History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Here are 25 insane human practices that prove history was terrifying. 25. In places like Greece and Rome, if you were found guilty of violating a local law, you would be forced to leave your home and go to another region away from your friends and family, either permanently or for a fixed period of time. 24. If you lived in most parts of Asia about 2,000 years ago, you would be terrorized at the sound of the word bastinado. What was bastinado, you ask? Well, it was the practice of beating a person on the soles of their feet with a stick. Because the soles were vulnerable, it was a very painful form of discipline. 23. Beheading was a very popular form of punishment in medieval Europe, and though, for the most part, it seemed to be more merciful than hanging, that was not always the case. Sometimes, several blows were needed to sever the person's head, resulting in a rough and painful execution. 22. Birching was a form of punishment which pretty much meant beating a person across the backside with birch twigs. It used to be popular in British schools and was imposed by the courts for minor offenses. However, birching for minor crimes was abolished in Britain in 1948. 21. In medieval England, a not-so-humane law allowed poisoners to be boiled alive. In 1532, a cook named Richard Roos was boiled alive, and then years later, a woman named Margaret Davy was also boiled alive. Nobody ever accused the Brits of being sensitive. 20. It might sound totally barbaric and unrealistic to us, but branding people with red-hot irons was a popular and common method of punishment in Britain. 19. Even though nobody can explain why, human urine was thought to be the best way to brush your teeth or clean your clothes in ancient Rome. Just, ugh. 18. If you happen to love cats, then 17th century France is not the place for you, or your cats. See, in France at the time, people thought it was good luck to burn a sack full of cats. The only problem was that, in many cases, they couldn't find enough cats, and would add in a few foxes too. 17. During World War II, the propaganda aimed at dehumanizing the Japanese was so successful that many American Marines in the Pacific kept the body parts of Japanese soldiers as souvenirs. And the scariest part is that this was only a little over 70 years ago. 16. In ancient Egypt, people actually believed with a passion that the universe was the result of the ejaculation of the god Autumn. Because of this theory, many pharaohs would ceremonially ejaculate into the Nile in public view. 15. If you happen to be of Bulgarian heritage and had the misfortune of living in the vast Byzantine Empire around 970 to 1050, you probably wouldn't have liked it. Basil, the Byzantine emperor, apparently hated Bulgarians so much that when he captured 15,000 of them in battle, he had 99 out of every 100 blinded, leaving that 100th with one eye, and then sent them all home. 14. Being a pedophile in Rome was considered pretty normal. As a matter of fact, the emperors frequently had young boys as concubines, and some even hired toddlers to nibble at their inner thighs while they bathed. 13. We've all heard about the sex scandals in the church, however, many of them haven't been proven true. Back in October 1501, Pope Alexander VI had an orgy with over 50 prostitutes in what went down as the Banquet of Chestnuts. Keep in mind that this is the only major sexual event we've discovered about the holy people of that period. 12. The WWE might be one of the most entertaining sports in the world at the moment, where everything is staged and wrestlers rarely get hurt. However, back in the 18th century, wrestling was incredibly violent, and the winner would usually take the loser's eye as a trophy. 11. In 16th century France and Germany, if you had the bad luck to anger the local authorities for any reason, you could be tied to a wheel, and an executioner would use an iron bar or hammer to break both your arms and legs in several places. Sometimes, a blow to the chest or strangulation was used to end the man's agony, but he could also be left to die of thirst. Braking on the wheel was finally abolished in Germany in 1827. 10. For some crazy reason, lobotomy was seen as the ultimate cure in most parts of the US for a woman that refused to do housework or was being naughty in general. 9. During the Elizabethan era, Queen Elizabeth I loved sugar so much that her teeth rotted and turned black. However, most of the aristocracy found this cute, and in their attempt to imitate her, they tried to make their teeth black too. 8. In the 1830s, there was something called Dr. Miles' compound extract of tomato. It was supposed to treat indigestion, diarrhea, and liver disease, among other things that it never actually healed. Today, we just call it ketchup and use it as a sauce for our fries and hot dogs. 7. Foot binding was a barbaric custom of applying painfully tight bindings to the feet of young girls in order to prevent further growth. The practice possibly originated among upper-class court dancers in Imperial China around the 10th or 11th century, but spread during the Song dynasty and eventually became common among all but the lowest classes. 6. Burning is a very old method of killing people, and in 1401, a law in England made it the penalty for heresy. In the 16th century, nearly 300 Protestants were burned to death in England, while many witches were burned in Scotland and other parts of Europe. During the 18th century, in Britain, if a woman was found guilty of murdering her husband, she was burned to death. 5. Even if you've never had the unpleasant experience of being stuck by cactus needles, you're probably aware of the incredible pain they can cause. However, the Aztecs used to punish naughty children by having cactus needles forced into their skin. 4. Today, a hot shower is considered to be one of the most relaxing things you can do after a long day, but not in ancient Greece. Back then, people used to take cold showers even during the winter, since they believed that cold water helped to make the skin healthier and younger looking. 3. In Aztec society, naughty children were also sometimes punished by having their heads put over a fire containing chilies and being forced to inhale the smoke. 2. During the 16th century, the Dutch Navy came up with the very inhumane idea of keel hauling, which pretty much meant dropping a man into the sea and then hauling him under the keel of the ship with a rope. Barnacles would slice his skin to shreds, and, of course, there's the whole drowning thing. 1. All Spartan infants were brought before a council of inspectors and examined for physical defects. If the baby was judged to be unfit for its future duty as a soldier, it was most likely abandoned on a nearby hillside. Left alone, the child would either die of exposure or be rescued and adopted by strangers. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the top right corner so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these two videos here, or just head to our website at list25.com.